Evet, Sherlock Holmes bir cinayet çözümü. Bakalım Sherlock olarak, Holmes olarak ne tür bir cinayet çözümleri bizi bekliyor. Tanıtımları gelsin. Holmes'un dünyasına giriş yapalım. Baş karakter Sherlock Holmes tabii. Kara Peter'ın kaderi. Karakter portresi falan filan. Devam. Hadi bakalım. Sherlock'un kitabını okuyor olması peki? Güzel. Holmes. Ne yapıyorsun abi? Vazo mu vuruyorsun? Ne yapıyorsun?
Holmes, will you stop that? You are utterly mad.
Çıldırmasın zaten, niye atsın yani ateş? Holmes bu. Normal adam değil ki. Holmes.
Stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Bu doğru.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate.
Bu seslerden gerçekten polisin geldiğini düşünmesi. Müfettiş Lestrade.
Lestrade. What is it this
Oh.
time?
He can see me. Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. A gentleman by the name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
Kara
A
Peter
sailor,
öldürülmüş mü?
most probably.
What happened here?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
Annem
It's the
ya.
only exercise I've had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
I missed 4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Black Peter.
Black
Peter Carey, born in 1845 and 50 years old. An ambitious sort, he achieved much success in seal and whale hunting around Scandinavia. Retired in 1884
30
with a
senede iyi
small
para
fortune.
kaldırmış ha.
He invested his money in a property called Woodman's Lee, near Forest Row in Sussex. It was where he lived for 6 years, and where he
Biri
was found
mirasına
dead
göz dikmiş
yesterday.
anlaşılan.
Has the investigation already begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Katılalım
Give
bakalım.
me half an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The merry men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should
Güle
have
güle.
Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone then.
Yalnızlık iyidir. Dava defteri ve sorgudaki anlık girişiminiz, görevleri, kanıtları ve benzeri kontrol etmek için tab tuşu. Maktulün profili. Peter Carey, namı diğer Kara Peter. 1845'te doğdu, şimdi 50 yaşında. İskandinavya'da balık avını büyük başarılar elde etti. Osman Lee. Bu ne? Görevler. Carey'i araştır. Böyle tıklayabiliyoruz mu? Yok. Osman Lee'deki cinayet mahallini incele. Kendi dolabından giyecek ceket seç ve Osman Lee'deki Lestrada katıl. Geniş bir sokak ağımız var. Güzel. Baker sokağı. O zaman burası bizim yerimiz. Bu da Woodsman. Bu ne? Çantamız. Belgeler, diyaloglar, hatıralar. Mesajlar, karakter portreleri. Bu güzelmiş. Bu kaydın tutuluyor olması iyi. Bir noktayı kaçırırsak gelip buradan hepsini okuyabiliriz. Güzel. Giyme dolabım nerede? Aha, konuşabiliyor
Oh,
musun?
what a mess! What a terrible mess!
Hadi oradan temizle. Sal beni de geçeyim ya.
You go along to Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
Büyük ihtimalle. Hazırlanmadım ki. Dolabım nerede? Bu mu? Değil. Ha, giyinme odam. Abi ceket yok. Çalışma odası mıydı o? Anlamadım. Watson'ın odası.
This is where I keep my post.
Oy, bu ne gazete şey.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Abi bulamadım lan giyinme yerini. Çok yabancı. Harbi bulamadım. Nereden giyineceğim? Ha, şurası. Holmes'un odası. Heh. Makyaj. Saç, şapka. Ha, peruk da takabiliyoruz. Ha, bu güzel. Yok, gözlüğe gerek yok. Lan ne çirkin sakallar ya. Bu güzelmiş. Tam Holmes'e benziyor. Bunu sevdim. Gardıroba da gidelim. Sabahlık denizci kıyafeti, serbest takım. Gündelik takım. Tam bu da güzel. Onayla. Çok iyi oldum ha. Sakalım yok mu? Sakal almamıştım zaten. Yo, almıştım. Bıyıklı bir şey yaptım. Onu niye almadım? Aç. Sakal kullanamıyoruz demek ki. İyi, sakalsız olsun. Hadi gidelim. Şifre hızlı koşuyoruz. Güzel. Osmanlı. İlk yolculuğumuz başlasın. Kısa geçelim. O at yolculuğu kim bilir ne kadar uzun sürer. Gerilimle başladık
Mr.
ama.
Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
Resident Evil bekçileri gibisiniz. Allah affetsin. İnce detayları gördük. Taş patikanın etrafı.
It seems that the garden was well maintained. It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Biri buradan geçmiş. Ama ayak izleri yok sonra. Neyse.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Olan dışı bir şey olunca ceset ne zaman bulundu?
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Demek ki bak.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my
Yani ah
husband
be
would not
ablacım
have
be.
liked it.
Keşke baksaymış.
At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and open it.
Allah rahmet eylesin.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
Neye göre bakacağız ki buna? Bir yakınlaşma durumu olmuyor mu? Heh. Taş. Aç. Katolik tespihi. Bahçe eldivenleri. Tepeli taş. Yok, tepeli baştan kadar. Ve neydi? Ne göremedim ama. Her şey zamanla kolaylaşacak.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Soruşturma denen karakterin yüz ifadelerine karşı kanıtlar emediğini. Puh! Yanlış attık. Ne alaka bahçe ya? Bahçe ne alaka? Kadının
You have
bahçede ne
indeed
işi var?
suffered a great loss, Mrs.
Aa,
Carey.
başa döndü.
Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for
Doğruyu
you
bulana kadar
soon.
başa attık.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my
O zaman
husband.
tekte atmak lazım ki.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from
Ya,
Plymouth?
buraları hep dinleyeceğiz.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Haç. Haç ya.
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Carey as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
Zekaya bak be.
That is
Nereden
indeed what
nereye
happened,
buldu?
Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
Thank you, madam.
Judith'i bulduk. Burada bir şeyler var. Judith Carey, Peter olan mutsuz evli yüzünden zor bir hayat geçirmiş. Oldukça dinler, genç Nazlı James'in yolu parçını gerçekleşmiş olan Katolik bir kadın. İyi bakılmış parça ve maktul.
Mr. Holmes?
Cesedi göremiyor muyum ben? Buralara giremiyoruz. Ekran parlaklığını arttırayım. Tamamdır. Bizim polis memuru aşağıda. Tamam, ona gidelim.
Peter Carey's body is inside the cabin. We took care not to touch anything.
Tamam, bakayım o zaman.
The door is locked.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday
İyi
to
yapmışsın.
ensure that
Doğru
no
dedin.
one should enter the cabin and tamper with
Kanıtlarla
the evidence.
oynanabilir.
Ah, good thinking.
Good
Hello,
thinking.
hello.
What is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see.
Şaşırmadım. Şaşırdım desem yalan olur. Şaşırmadım. Harbiden kapı mı o ya? Çizikler.
These scratches are fresh.
Yoksa
You're right. Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Now, a mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps he did not have the right tool.
olabilir. Ne gördün lan o 5
What a
saniyede?
terrible way to die. Old navigation instruments, nothing interesting.
Botlar var.
Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8.
Orada bir çantayla öttüm gibi ama.
Harpoons for hunting whales. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain.
Geriye sayıyor. Nasıl oluyor? Ha, bunu
The ship's
okuruz zaten.
logs of the Sea The tooth of a
Sperme
sperm
çekmeli nasıl
whale,
bir şey?
probably from one of Peter Carey's catches.
Şüpheli boş kısım. Tozdaki izler.
This place is not covered with dust, like the rest of the shelf.
Evet.
An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book. A box or a small chest, perhaps.
Aha, patika.
Dundee.
Dundee. Oradan da
Hammerfest.
Amethyst.
It's a whaling map. Someone drank from this glass recently. The initials PC have been crudely burned.
Peter işte.
Sailor's work.
İçine ne çıkacak? Tütün.
This aroma is familiar, but to recognize it, I must construct my associations in one picture.
Yani hareket etmiyor. Oğlum nasıl hareket ettim ben mantığı anlamadım ben. Ha, şöyle bir döndürme var. Aha, aha oldu. Oldu sayılır. O kaldı bir tek. Onu oldu.
Yes.
Kolaydı.
This is a coarse tobacco, quite strong and very popular among sailors. Rum, a sailor's drink. It seemed that Captain Carey was enjoying a drink before he met his death.
Evet. Büyük bir alem yapmış anlaşılan.
The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense.
Almış sürüklemiş anlaşılan.
Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harpoon. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that
Kesin
he knew
tanıdık biri.
his murderer.
Tayfadan biri büyük ihtimalle.
JHN are probably the initials of the owner of this notebook.
Acaba kimin?
The pattern of the blood stain indicates that the notebook was not lying on the floor prior to the crime, but it was dropped into the pool of blood after the death of Peter Carey.
Büyük ihtimalle düşürdü. Aç bakalım. Oo,
These abbreviations mean something.
cinayet
What?
defteri. Tamam, bulduk. Seri cinayetler peş peşe gelecek. Biz de bunları
This
çözeceğiz.
blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. This wooden handle is plain and solid. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but
Orayı
he did
göremedim.
not succeed.
Okuyamadık. Peter kendini bıçakla savunmaya çalışmış dedi ama tam emin olamadı onu. Gidelim. Not defteri, daha duvara rutlanmış, zorla girme deneme. Bahçıvan yok. Bir tane bulduk. Soğan. Baskın düzenle. Zorla girme çalışmasını tekrar manuel görmek için bu ceket baskın düzenle. Ekliyoruz. Suya yatacağız.
Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry.
Bunlarla diyalog kurduk da.
The ship's log.
Burada bence bir şey kalmadı. Çıkabiliriz.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky
And why is that?
because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oof, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
Beklemeyi.
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
Long night. Şurada bekleriz değil mi?
This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Hadi bakalım, ilk baskınımızı yapalım. Bölüm finaline doğru ilerliyoruz. Açık mı? Açık galiba.
Did you hear that?
Kamera nasıl çekimden oynadı? Hiçbir şey göremedim. Ha geldi. Çocuk geldi. Yirmilerin başında bu ya. En fazla 21.
I'm gonna collar him.
I'll be right behind you.
Police! Hold it right there.
Kaçtı mı?
Mr. Holmes, come and see what we've caught in our net.
Aa içeri girmiş. İçeri tuzadı. Ben de kaçtı sandım.
All right, my
Koşuyor
fine
mal
fellow.
gibi.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
You're detectives, I suppose. You imagine that I'm connected with the death of Captain Carey. I assure you
Onu
I'm innocent.
ben karar verdim.
Innocent? And what are you doing in his cabin?
Shall I tell you? You came to retrieve what you had lost after killing Peter Carey, but we were here waiting for you.
What is your name?
John Hopley Nelligan, but I didn't.
Do you deny that you came here yesterday?
No, but yes, it's just that I couldn't.
I'm tired of this. Off we go to the yard. Tomorrow, I'll see that you're put in front of the judge.
What? But you can't. I'm not. It's a terrible mistake.
Enough. You can explain all of that to the judge.
Yeah.
You're coming with me to the yard.
But
In light of recent events,
but-
it seems evident that your coming here was unnecessary. All the same, I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Holmes.
You are welcome, Inspector, but please don't be too hard on our young fellow. I would like to question him tomorrow morning.
İlk şüphelimiz bir genç çocuk. Bakalım. Dava defterine Scotland Yard var. Peter Carey ve Judith. Acaba Scotland Yard'daki sorguda bakalım bizi neler bekliyormuş. Genç çocuk söylediği gibi masum mu yoksa masum ayağına yatan bir suçlu mu? Hep birlikte göreceğiz.